MS has come out with a very interesting note on PNB Housing Finance, and they've maintained over rate, and they've hiked the target price from 1025 to 1520. Now, this poses an upside of roughly 37% from its yesterday's closing price. However, the stock is reacting, negatively to it. However, it did see some gains in the start of the trade. It has cooled off and come off from its day's highs, but we have Harsh joining in with more details on what the note is exactly talking about.
Well, forget today, Mahima, but this stock has been or given 65% returns over the last 6 months, 30+% returns in the last 1 month. So it's been a very, very strong given very strong returns to investors, both in the 1 month and the 6 month and the 1 year time frame. Morgan Stanley particularly bullish. What they are trying to bring out as part of this note is, first off, they've hiked the target price from 1025, they've hiked it to 1520, which is a 40+% hike in terms of target price. The 30+% upside, of course, but they suggest that in 3 years, the company could be uniquely placed in the housing finance segment and will have growth verticals across the board in housing finance. So that's the first thing they're looking out for. The second thing is that they believe that there's a good balance of loan growth, asset quality, as well as ROE, and a lot of that is upcoming, which is what one can expect going forward. The other thing is the margin of safety with regard to both earnings as well as valuations. They believe there's good cushion on the earnings front going forward. The asset quality has gotten better, will continue to do so, and they believe valuations look relatively cheaper in comparison to other pockets, both of the market as well as within the lending space. Risks, they believe stock supply, because there are several private equity investors within the company, a mid-cap sell-off within the larger mid-cap market, and weaker than expected earnings. These are 3 key risks that they are looking out for, but they are valuing this and they're expecting it to re-rate to 2.5 times FY27 price to book. So over the next 12 to 18 months, they are expecting the valuations to correct substantially on a multiple basis, and that's where all of this upside is coming from.
All right, Harsh, thank you so much for giving us those details on PNB Housing. So MS is expecting a re-rating in the stock. Avinash, your view, how are you viewing PNB Housing Finance as?
I think, from a broader perspective, housing finance companies should do well. If you look at the quarterly performances of Q1 of most of the housing finance companies, I think numbers have been pretty solid. Plus, hopefully, when the rate cut does come in, I think that is also going to be another cushion and, sentiment booster for these companies. I think overall, the housing finance sector is doing well, because real estate, on the other hand, has also been doing very well. And I think as far as PNB Housing is concerned, it's got a good cushion in terms of its customer base, in terms of its balance sheet size. And more importantly, I think it's a well-established player in the housing finance space. Clearly, liquidity has been quite comfortable. And clearly, I think my sense is that if they move aggressively in the next, say, 1 to 2 years, I think obviously in terms of return on equity, in terms of asset quality, a lot more improvements could get reflected in the numbers. So I think, at these levels, the margin of safety is definitely pretty good. The downside is capped. And I think over the next, say, 12, 18 months, this is one company where possibly, the re-rating could happen significantly. So I think even we are positive on the stock, but with a slightly longer term horizon.
All right, so positive on the stock, but with a slightly longer term horizon.